Yeah. And again, and that like goes back is like, what can you do as a citizen? And that
Mhm.
is hold these people accountable.
Yeah.
Listen to what they're saying and then let them know what they're saying. Speak it back to them. Be like, hey, all you said is divisive things. Hey, all you said were problems. How are you going to fix this problem? And then don't let them get off stage. Like, make them answer your question. And when they can't, don't vote for them and I find somebody else to vote for. Or, you know what the great part is there are a lot of people running for office who probably could answer these problems, right? But they actually say the other things because they want to win and they
Yeah.
think it's their only way to win. So, like, as citizens, if you provide the environment for good candidates to exist, then good candidates will exist.
Yeah, that's a good point. As I always said when I was running, people would congratulate me on running for office, and I say it's easy. You just file some paperwork and ask people to vote for you. So if you're unhappy with who's running in your district, just file some paperwork and run against them. It's not a lot. And then the next thing someone will say, well, you got to start asking all your friends and family for donations. And I'll let that, you can figure that, you can solve that problem in terms of what you're going to bring to it. But like, you know, it is just a matter of like, again, like, why do people ask for donations? Because it's just trying to make it easier. Well, they think it's going to make it easier to reach out to people, but really, you door knock and you go out to events and I think this idea of sitting in a public place and trying to talk to people, I think is key. And I think that like that's the way it's going to have to be in the future, especially with the way social media is, and they're trying to shy away from politics and stuff. So that's not an avenue anymore. Not that it
Right.
ever really was, but I think some people got successful, and so we all think it's important.
Right.
But like you do, and this is something I struggle with, being kind of shy. Like, you do have to put yourself out there, and you have to put yourself at people's doorsteps in front of them and be like, do you know there's an election? Do you know who's running? I'm running. I'm one of those people. Let me tell you what I'm running on. Like, I think that's all it takes.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, that's hard. I mean, I went door knocking yesterday. I sent my kids door knocking today. Um, and so like, yeah, it is a really difficult thing. And I think it's even more difficult post COVID because like nobody just like used to people coming to their house anymore, except for
Yeah,
the Amazon
yeah.
guy. um, but so if people want to help and they're like, all right, I got to learn government. I got to learn
Mhm.
about representation. What if I want to like help now, but I don't have like I'm not doing any of those. John, is there anything that like people can do to like help us out?
Well, speaking of how important social media may or may not be, we do need some help with the social media aspect of the Madison Republicans. If you like to tweet, if you like to press that like button, you can help us out on that. We need people who have sort of a business acumen, and not just like necessarily soliciting donations, but in terms of like managing a business. Like, that can be its own full-time job.
Right.
You and I both have full-time jobs, and we're trying to do the podcast. We're trying to do our own reading and research and outreach and stuff. um we need education is as someone who's a teacher, like, and works in education, like, it's incredibly difficult and expensive in terms of time and effort. And if people want to help us with that, where they dive into certain areas and they say, like, this is what I've got back, like, you gave Craig a job of looking into corporations, and he sort of went into there and figured out, like, kind of the crux of like, what is a corporation, where does it come from? And that's hours and hours of research that you were able to leverage someone else's interests and talents and abilities in order to do that. It's like, if you've got ideas, areas that sort of you think you can access, like, come help us do some research, do some reading, and
Right.
then you can come teach at one of our events.
Right.
Speaking of events, we need to, like, running events is its own little thing, like,
Right.
just the details that go into that. If you want to help us put on our monthly events, if you want to help us sort of going back to like beating the bushes, like getting people to have sort of events in their home. Like, I
Right.
think, like, someone who can help with that, with just the details around that, logistics of that. Like, it's one thing to say, like, yeah, we'll have a meet and greet on this day, and it's another thing to say, like, what does that mean? Like, do we have space? Do we have food? Do we have a guest list?
Yeah, I mean, I sent my kids door knocking today and I told them knock on the doors, tell them what we're doing, and ask them if they can spare 20 minutes for dad to talk to them. And I sent them to my neighbor's house. And I said, anybody that wants to have a meeting, get their phone number. I'll call and set up a time with them to come over. And I said, give them one of these packets. It's our Republic packet from last month, right? Like show them that like this is serious. This is real.
Yeah.
Like we're not messing around. And you know, we can make it as comfortable as possible, right? Like and having people on our team, there's 5 of us right now, right? 5 of us right now. And you mentioned like the work. I mean, everybody has helped build out these classes, right? Every single person in this group has helped build or write something for these classes. The thing that Craig did is like a piece that I'm working on for Citizens United and the First Amendment. And so like that was really important. Individual rights plays a factor versus corporate rights. And it's great to have like that teammate to be able to carry that load for me. Cause like you said, we got full-time jobs. We got big families, right? Like we're struggling with time here, but we do think it's really important. We're trying to help our community. You know, events coordinator, social media coordinator. Basically, I want a CEO. I need a business manager. Realistically, I mean, they're volunteer positions. You know, the way that I look at the problem that we have, it's a labor versus capital. You know, everything is a labor versus capital problem, whether it's in business or government. Right now, the capital has the advantage. I mean, we have somebody. I think, do you know how much you get paid for a delegate to run or to like in the state of Virginia?
I want to say it's $14,000 a year.
Okay, I think it's 17, but that's
Is it okay? Maybe
more confident.
adjusted for inflation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, think about this. Like we have people that are running for office as delegates who are donating over $20,000 to their own campaign just so they can run for office when they're only going to get paid $17,000. That's a wealth barrier, right? Like
right.
That's a capital. That means capital can run for office, labor can't. How do you counteract capital? You devalue your labor and you work harder. So we as citizens have to work for free. We have to create political organizations and work for free for them. And you know, how we can counterbalance that is having more people work for us than them, and we just sharing the load, right? So like it's a part-time gig, but it's something that we need people that are committed to do, that really want to make change. So like I said, events coordinator, volunteer coordinator, business manager, education director. I've taken that role myself as far as writing the classes, but we still need people on the education team. We need a policy leader. We need people on the policy team. You know, there's lots of positions. We should post them. We'll post them in the show notes as well. And then, so if you're interested, reach out. Like, let's have a conversation. Like, you don't have to make a commitment. Come learn about what we're doing and see if it's the right fit for you, right? It's got to be the right fit for us too. Like, we got to be able to mesh and work together. But I've met so many people over the last couple of years, and I can tell you, like, anyone's capable of doing all of this, right?
Yeah.
As long as you've got the right team around you to help guide you in the ways that you need to go, and it's the thing that you love to do, right? If you're, you know, artistic person, you want to be, you know, maybe a designer or something for literature, like you can be a part of that. I was talking to a friend at dinner the other night, and he was talking about how he had like 3 jobs, but he was like, they were all things that I love to do. So it was like a labor of love, right? There are all things in this business that will fit somebody's labor of love, you know? And if you want to do more, you want to help your community, you want to help your country realistically, maybe help us out, you know, like.
We're worth your time. We promise.
I mean, yeah, we're trying, right? Like, and like I said, you know, give people the tools, give people the opportunity, give them the recipe, right? We can bring it back to that cooking
yeah,
earlier.
That's right. Yeah, it's of all the ingredients that come together, and you know, I think we've got a good recipe with Madison Republicans, and you know, the more ingredients we can bring to it, the more. I think in this case, the more chefs, the better.
Right. Absolutely.